It's happening, Krim. It's happening. It took us to our second day of top 10 videos, but we have our card that is good in Soul Sisters. Hey, Soul Sister. I figured out if you predict a card is good in Soul Sisters every set, hey, Soul Sister, eventually, by the law of averages, you will accidentally be right and look like a genius. This card is finally the card that can be good in Soul Sisters. Hey, Soul Sister. Hello, everyone. It's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another edition of Budget Magic. And this week, if you didn't figure it out from the intro, we're trying to find out, did Wizards finally give us a card that's good in Soul Sisters? So this is our standard good in Soul Sisters deck. As you can see, 72 bucks a paper, 15 total rares and mythics on Magic Arena. And I think after years of predicting and waiting and hoping, Wizards might have finally given us a card that's good in Soul Sisters in Voice of the Blessed, which is basically the best Johnny's Pridemate of all time, and joins Trellisara Moondancer to our 2-drop slot to give us 8 creatures that whenever we gain life, we put a counter on them, and they have extra upside. Trellisara Scries to find more creatures, to get more triggers. Voice of the Blessed eventually gets flying in lifelink and even indestructible if we get up to 10 counters. But really, our deck is full of Soul Sisters, creatures that when we have a creature come into play gain us a life. So the idea is we play the Soul Sisters early, we follow up with Voice of the Blessed Trellisara, and quickly roll them into 5/5s and 10/10s and 20/20s and just use them to take over the game. Then we have Righteous Valkyrie, which walks a line between a Soul Sister life gain effect and a payoff. If we get to 27 life, gives all of our creatures +2/+2, a nice bonus. But whenever an Angel or Cleric comes into play, we get to gain life equal to its toughness, which kind of makes it a Soul Sister. Incidentally, all of our creatures are Clerics or Angels -1. We're not really Cleric tribal or Angel tribal. It just happens to work out that most of the good life gain stuff happens to be in those tribes. So we do trigger it pretty often. Another way to grow our Voice of the Blessed Trellisaras. Then we have our Soul Sisters, Lunarch Veteran, Prosperous Innkeeper. Not literal Soul Sisters, but they do the same thing. When a creature comes into play under our control, we gain a life. So the idea is we play these, then we follow up with Voice of the Blessed Trellisara. Then we just play more creatures, and every creature we're playing is putting a counter. If we have Innkeeper and Lunarch Veteran, 2 counters on our Trellisara, on our Voice of the Blessed, and they just snowball out of control really, really quickly, and hopefully just let us smash our opponent to death before they can answer them. Speaking of answering our big payoffs, one of the problems with our deck is outside of Voice of the Blessed and Trellisara, our stuff's pretty small. So if our opponent can kill our Voice of the Blessed Trellisaras, we're kind of left playing a bunch of 1/1s that gain us life, which doesn't really do anything. So the next piece of the puzzle is a bunch of ways to protect our payoffs. Allenbach Escort, Valorous Stance, Snakeskin Veil, always to fizzle removal spells, fizzle some Wraths, and just generally keep our Voice of the Blesseds in Trellisaras on the battlefield as long as possible, to grow them as big as possible, to win the game as quickly as possible. Otherwise, as far as support cards, Luminarch Aspirant, pretty cute in the deck, puts counters on things. So it's a way we can get our Voice of the Blessed up towards 4 counters in 10 counters without gaining life, just speeds up the process a little bit. Also can put counters on any random creature, so Allenbach Escort can protect it. Cleric class just a 1-of because it's low, but another way to put counters on things, life gain payoff, a little reanimation. For removal, we got Brutal Cathar, our 1 non-angel cleric creature. Cabria Takedown, technically part of our mana base, but we can go pretty wide in this deck, so reasonable removal. Mana base wise, pretty typical budget stuff, bunch of tap duels, bunch of basics. Sideboard, more ways to protect our creatures, more removal spells, and that is good in Soul Sisters for Crimson Vow standard. That's our budget magic deck for this week, so let's jump into some games. See if Voice of the Blessed is finally the long-awaited card that's good in Soul Sisters. Thanks for watching. I hope you all enjoy it, and I'll be back in a bit with a wrap-up. Do you need some new Innistrad Crimson Vow cards? Well, you can get them all from our sponsor, Card Kingdom, by heading over to cardkingdom.com/MTGGoldfish and even get a free MTG Goldfish sticker. Just let them know you want one in your order notes, and they will hook you up. Budget magic time. We are trying to find out, well, if we finally have cards that are good in Soul Sisters and Standard, and, well, I mean, we're going to keep this. I guess Cabria Takedown to the bottom. So the problem with this hand is we do not have any Soul Sister effects. One of the downsides of this deck is when we don't draw Soul Sister effects, we kind of end up just playing a bunch of 1/1s that don't do anything. So we really need to find Trellisaras and so forth. Werewolf Pack Leader, sure. Well, we'll see. Crack the Evolving Wilds, get a Forest opponent. There's a Trellisara. Well, I think we land and Trellisara. It gets a counter, it gets to scry. Yeah, we'll keep an Innkeeper. And this turns on Allenback Escort to protect it, which is big. If our opponent just goes to fight it, we can sack the Escort and then follow up with double Innkeeper and just make Trellisara so big that it should be unfightable. And then eventually Righteous Valkyrie comes down to hopefully seal the deal. Opponent, tap land. Well, we will sack the Escort. Kill the pack leader, keep the Innkeeper. Oh, opponent done. Well, I mean, that's the upside of this deck is if we can grow a big thing, it's really tough for a deck like Mono Green to deal with. All right, we're going to do some trimming. Our sideboard is just all removal. Unfortunately, deck doesn't have a lot of good sideboard cards for control, but we have a lot of good sideboard cards for decks that are just running out random creatures. Like a million good cards for those matchups. The question is really, what do we cut? Like that is the hard part. What do we actually trim? Maybe we can go down the Snakeskin Veils. We got the Valorous Stance. So we have Valorous Stance in Allenbach Escort as protection. Maybe like one Righteous Valkyrie and one Escort. Let's try it like that, I think. I'm a little nervous going down protection for removal, but game one went well. I mean, we can grow big creatures. That is what Soul Sisters wants to do. We saw it there with Trellisara. Ooh, okay, this will keep. We're gonna need, wow, so many Voice of the Blesseds. Gonna need some life gain, but Sculptor of Winter for our opponent. I'll play a land and yeah, let's just Luminarch Aspirant. Counter on the Aspirant past the turn. Come on! Lands and life gain. Opponent goes attacking, no blocks. Down at 18. Land. Old Growth Troll. I'll play the tap land. Play Voice of the Blessed. Counter on Voice of the Blessed. Pass the turn. Next turn we can start playing Brutal Cathars, which is good. We still need life gain, Werewolf Pack Leader. Opponent's got the life gain. Prosperous Innkeeper. Passes. Oh, Brutal Cathar. Snag the pack leader. Counter on Voice of the Blessed. We're doing it the old-fashioned way, no attacks. Well, opponent's only got 3 cards. Let's see if they're fight spells. About it. Untaps. Something big coming. Oh! Okay. Hoverbreath Caretaker. Frightening. Counters on the Old Growth Troll. Passes. Well, we draw land. Oh, how can we do this? Kind of want to try to protect the Voice of the Blessed. It needs 2 counters for flying and vigilance. This is just going to keep going off. Oh, this is so awkward just because we haven't drawn life gain. Opponent's got 2 cards in hand. Yeah, just play a Voice of the Blessed. Counter on the Voice of the Blessed. Oh, if we had a life gain effect, we would be so going off right now. We do got to be careful about this Caretaker flipping. Opponent's going to grow the Old Growth Troll. Combat. Attacks. Well, we're taking 8. Yeah, down to 10. That's a big one. Opponent passes. Going to try to flip, but we draw a land. So we got to play 2 things. We need to, wow, and all their stuff has hexproof. That's something. Voice of the Blessed. Portable hole for no value, just to make this werewolf flip. Go to combat, grow the Voice of the Blessed, go attacking. The problem is we just have not hit any life gain, which is so awkward. Well, this flips, we get to get rid of the Old Growth Troll, which is kind of huge. And we have protection up. I don't know if our opponent scoops it up. We did it the old-fashioned way, but we got there. We managed to, wow, our budget deck managed to outpace an Avabret Caretaker without drawing any life gain effects. Like, we were able to overcome even without anything to grow our Voice of the Blessed. We just did it. We did it the old-fashioned way. Luminarch Aspirant, putting counters on it super slowly, finally got it to Super Sarah Angel status. And oh boy, if we had some life gain, this hand would have really went off, but we'll take it. Soul Sisters. Not bad. Not bad at all. Sweet, sweet. Budget magic time. We're keeping this. We're gonna draw land. We're seeing if there's finally a card good in Soul Sisters. We've been talking about it literally forever. It might have finally happened. This hand, if we draw another land, it's not the best Soul Sister hand, but well, that works. But something I've seen from opponents is that if you have 3 Luminarch Aspirants, you often just win. Yeah, play a land, play a Luminarch Aspirant. Playing around the Jawari Disruption, go to combat, gain a life. All right, opponent has removal. Well, we'll see. I do think that control is a tough matchup just because we don't have very good sideboard cards for control. The white and green cards that are decent against control are also rares for the most part. Well, Luminarch Aspirant. Gain some life. Counter on the Aspirant. Go attacking. Valorous Stance isn't bad. We're going to wait on this second Aspirant to leave up the Valorous Stance. Well, all right. Indestructible, please. And there's the Jwari Disruption. Well, we'll see. Allenbeck Escort. Luminarch has gained some life. We've gained infinite life, but infinite life isn't necessarily enough here. Go attacking. Our clock is not very fast. We haven't had any Soul Sister, or, well, we haven't had any payoffs for gaining this life. Shadow's Verdict, and yeah. All right. Well, we are going to go to game number 2. I know I'm going to get yelled at. I know. Someone's going to yell in the comments and say, oh, that's an early scoop. We don't have any card draw. Our opponent's deck is built to win the late game. So I do not consider an early scoop. We can bring in the Snakeskin Veils. So yell if you must, but I think that is a reasonable place to concede against control. Cleric class isn't bad just because of the reanimation, although as we saw, our opponents got exile-based Wrath. Let's try it like this. Yeah, this is the matchup I'm most scared of. I think we just have to get off to a really fast start and hope we have like a protection spell or two and that we can jank our opponent out. Soul Sisters seems pretty good at battling with creature decks, much less good against control. Even if we did have non-budget sideboard cards like Elite Spellbinder, I think they help. But I don't know. I don't know if that would shift the matchup, but that's something to keep in mind. If you do build the deck, this is not the fast jank 'em out hand. All right, this will try. Could use some life gain, but well, to the bottom. Here we go. Let's see what happens. We got 2 life gain payoffs. Hopefully we draw a way to gain some life. Evolving Wilds, go. About it. Plays an island. Well, crack this, get a forest. Land and Luminarch Aspirant. Grow it. Pass the turn. About it. Swamp. Passes. Well, play a land. Go to combat. Counter on the Luminarch Aspirant. Attack ya. Baiting Hope. You know what? I think we just got to go for it. Snakeskin Veil. Hit you for 4. Allenbeck Escort. I mean, we're all in on the Jacob out plan. I think that's our only realistic shot. Opponent land. Infernal Grasp, but we will sack the Escort. Untap. Voice of the Blessed. Counter on Voice of the Blessed. Hit you for 4. Okay, opponent adapts. No Wrath. Little stumbling, maybe. Tap land. All right, removal spell number 79. Opponent passes, but we'll play Righteous Valkyrie. We will go attacking. Oh, but if they have a Wrath, it's so bad. About it. Tap land. Please stop killing our stuff. Go to combat. Attack. All right, no Shadows Verdicts. No Shadows Verdicts. No, no, no. If they have normal removal, okay, Meat Hook Massacre. That only kills the Voice of the Blessed, though. Opponent does gain a life. Well, play a land. Trelisara. We get to Scry. Valorous Stance, we already got one. Hit you to 1. Opponent untaps. Come on, please. Please die. Basic. We untap. Well, go to combat. Attack it. Baiting Hope, okay. Can't stop that. Opponent gets to Scry. I mean, they still have to stop the Valkyrie. Oh, well, that's a recipe. We gotta be quick. We gotta be quick. Attack, attack, attack. That's how we can maybe get by control. Run back. Try to do that again. Well, I mean, that makes me feel a little better that we know that we can beat control, even through a Wrath and a lot of removal. Opponent had like 4 removal spells and a Meat Hook Massacre, so it's nice to know that it's possible. All right, we'll keep. Sounds okay. Not super exciting, but it's okay. Tap land go. Unfortunately, mana's gonna be a little on the clunky side. Opponent plays a land. We'll play a land. Play Lunarch Veteran. Pass the turn. We would like to draw land. Opponent might be having land troubles. All right, maybe not. Opponent passes. Land, play Trellisara. Get a counter, get to scry, forest we will keep, go attacking, about it. Down to 19. All right, so opponent's going to ruin our scry. Wow. All right, this is awkward, but I think we have to get a forest. I think we have to get a forest so we can leave up Snakeskin Veil, although we would much rather have another plains over the long game. Opponent. Tap land, passing. Well, we will play Luminarch Aspirant. We get to scry, grow the Trellisara, keep the plains, go to combat, attack you. Counter on, I guess, Lunarch Veteran. Go attacking. Definitely still worried about Shadow's Verdict. That is the worst. Fading Hope. Yeah, let's Snakeskin Veil. Hit you to 12. Opponent taps. Do you have the Wrath? Opponent. Well, lets us untap. All right, so play the land. We're at 22. Well, play Allenbach Escort. Gain a life, scry. Evolving Wilds to the bottom. Go to combat. Counter on Luminarch Aspirant. All right, so opponent's going to bounce the Trellisara. Yeah, we can't actually stop that, unfortunately. Well, go attacking. Replay Trellisara. We're at 24, 25, 26, 27. Yeah, I think we go bottom. I think we want to keep drawing action. All right, pass the turn. Did they find the sweeper? That is the question. Opponent. Hey, bear, don't get in there. Oh, just environmental sciences? Okay. Maybe we can get there before. Oh, this is going to be so close. Oh, opponent plays a land. Opponent passes. Well, play Lunarch Veteran. Forest to the bottom. Oh, we did it. We won our bad matchup. Oh my goodness. Soul Sisters. Okay. I'm unreasonably excited about that because control scares me so much with this deck, but it worked. A fast enough clock. Opponent didn't hit their Wrath in time, and we were able to just run them over. I mean, we could have followed this up. I mean, what do we have now? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I mean, I guess we already have lethal, but we could have also Righteous Valkyrie and it would have turned on, and then all of our stuff is even more massive. So that was real good. Sweet. Budget magic time. We are soul sistering, trying to find out if finally, after many long years, we finally got a card that was good in Soul Sisters, and, well, we're not keeping this. What a weird draw. There are matchups where triple Brutal Cathar would be good, but oh dear. Okay, well, we will do a bunch of mulliganing. Sure, we will keep. We got to put 2 cards to the bottom, so Valorous Stance and I guess Lunarch Veteran? Yeah, I mean, so we got a life gain effect, a protection effect, and a Luminarch Aspirant. Opponent's also going to 5, so it's a fair fight at 5, apparently. Evolving Wilds go. About it. Blue-white, eh? Well, crack. Gotta be like blue-white tempo. Get a forest. Play a land. Play a Prosperous Innkeeper. And pass the turn. About it. Ooh, Welcoming Vampire, nice. Well, we will Trellisara. Gain a life, get a counter. Oh, Brutal Cathar is great, but I think it's got to go bottom for now. And then Allenbach Escort. Gain a life, scry, get a counter. All right, we need land. Pass the turn. The other issue with this is Allenbach Escort doesn't necessarily stop our opponent's removal because they're probably playing brutal Cathars and whatnot. Thalia, all right, that doesn't really do anything against this opponent. This Welcoming Vampire is an issue. Gets and hits us. We draw. Lunarch Veteran. Awkward. Well, Luminarch Aspirant. Gain a life, grow Trellisara, scry, Valorous Stands to the bottom. Combat, counter on Aspirant, hit you for 5. I mean, it's basically a race to removal. Opponent's got the upside of drawing an extra card, theoretically, each turn with Welcoming Vampire. Oh boy. All right, opponent's gonna draw a lot of cards. Double Welcoming Vampire. Well, it's gonna be interesting. Grows the Thalia, goes to combat, attacks. Sure. Can we draw some lands? Sort of. Well, Arctic Tree Line, Lunarch Veteran, Arctic Tree Line to the bottom. Combat, counter on Luminarch Aspirant. Hit you with Trellisara. The issue is the card draw. Like, that's a real problem. We're winning the race, but our opponent drawing 2 extra cards each turn means sooner or later they're going to draw into something that ruins our day. Well, opponent goes to 9, pass the turn. Land. Intrepid Adversary draws 2. Oh no, does not get to draw, thankfully. All right, gonna grow the dorks. All right, well, the race is on. Opponent grows the Teeb, goes to combat, grows the Thalia, attacks. Yeah, can't stop that. Down to 9. We draw, didn't we put that to the bottom? All right, apparently there's a bunch of them. Oh boy, mana still awkward. So how can we do this? Voice of the Blessed. Get a couple triggers, do a bit of scrying. Aspirant to the bottom. Trigger. Planes to the bottom. Arctic Tree Line, go to combat. Counter on Trellisara. Well, this forces the block at least. Opponent blocks. Oh, I don't feel great about this, but I think we got to gain 9. A little worried, like, if they can play something else that pumps, we could just die. Voice of the Blessed, we'll keep it. All right, pass the turn. Well, we will see. Are we dead? Opponent land. Last card, Elite Spellbinder. The biggest problem with that is it's another flyer. Opponents just hit so many flyers. Attacks, hits us in the air for a ton. The good news is this Voice of the Blessed is going to get flying, and our opponent does have to keep chumping. Voice of the Blessed. Gain some life. Righteous Valkyrie. I mean, that is a flyer. Oh, post goes it up. Oh. Wow. Okay. We got there still. All right. So opponent's playing blue-white tempo. Against this deck, Portable Hole's great. Circle of Confinement's great. Cleric class, pretty slow. Valorous Stance, pretty sketchy. What else can we cut? Allenbach Escort's a little sketchy too, just because, like I said, our opponent's removal is likely not going to care much about Allenbach Escort. Like, most of their removal is going to be Brutal Cathar, Skyclave Apparition, stuff like that. So this is not the right matchup for it. I could see trying to bring in another Snakeskin Veil. I don't know how we get room though. Yeah, we're not like that. That's fine. I mean, we got game 1 somehow in the battle of 5-card openers. Our 5 cards somehow overcame our opponent's 5 cards. This deck actually feels pretty solid. Oh, 1 land, 1 keep. I think we're actually 1 land, 1 keeping. Like, this hand is really good if we draw a land, and we do draw the land. Okay, so that hand's really good. That's the upside. If we peel the land, this hand is kind of insane. We got removal, we got payoffs, we got threats. Opponent has a Circle of Confinement. Sure. Well, land and Prosperous Innkeeper pass the turn. Opponent. Plains. Wedding Announcement. Interesting. Well, we will Trellisara. Do we want a Plains? I think we can keep 1 more Plains. Arctic Tree Line, pass the turn. Opponent, land. 1 more Plains lets us double spell next turn, and then we'll start scrying lands to the bottom. Opponent, gonna eat the Trellisara. Sure. Passes. I'll play the land, play Voice of the Blessed. Get a counter. Play Luminarch Aspirant. Get a counter. All right, well, let's see if they have another Skyclave Apparition. Land for a moment. So we got 2 removal spells left in hand. Losing the Trellisara does hurt. The scrying is really helpful. Opponent passing. All right, flips the Wedding Announcement. We draw land. How do we want to do this? Well, let's play Brutal Cathar. Get rid of a token. Really don't want to put the Skyclave under it. There's too much potential for this to snowball really awkwardly. Gain a life, grow the Voice of the Blessed. Spectral Adversary, sure. Phases out the token. Well, we will go to combat. Counter on the Voice of the Blessed. Hit you for 7. Tap land, go. About it, land. Wow, all right, opponent had the card. And all right, so opponent has officially run out their entire hand. We might be in trouble though. That Valorous stance was actually kind of insane for our opponent. Yeah, so we take a ton of damage. Well, play Trellisar, that's good. Land definitely to the bottom. Circle of Confinement. Get rid of Skyclave Apparition. Get a token. Keep the Righteous Valkyrie. Counter on, I guess, Brutal Cathar. Well, we'll see. Past the turn. Who top decks better? Opponent. I mean, in theory, hopefully we win the top deck war because of Trellisar, but we'll see. We'll see. Definitely not super comfortable with where we're at. Opponent gets in with the flyer, hits us. Just a land. We get to flip our Werewolf. We play Righteous Valkyrie. We scry. We gain life. Ooh, Cabria takedown. I think we actually do keep that. Counter on the Righteous Valkyrie. And no attacks. All right, Welcoming Vampire. Opponent gets a token. Passes. Well, we will go to combat. Counter on Righteous Valkyrie. No attacks. So we're kind of at a stalemate now. We'd love to draw a creature. All right, opponent hits a land. Passes. We draw a land. Grow the token. Pass the turn. We kind of want this Brutal Cathar to flip. Opponent, it draws a land. All right, so now everyone's drawing lands. All right, Lunarch Veteran, that's fine. Gains us some life, lets us scry. Evolving Wilds to the bottom. Bottom. Cabria takedown. Kill the Welcoming Vampire. Counter on the Valkyrie. Hit you for 5. And double spell means we get to flip our Brute, which is huge. And that will get rid of the Cemetery Protector. All right, opponent needs a good draw. They need removal. Oh, and they didn't hit it, and we got there. And maybe Soul Sisters is legit. Maybe we didn't just find a card good in Soul Sisters. Maybe we found a really good standard deck, because so far we're crushing everyone with budget Soul Sisters. Like, seriously, we're just kind of wrecking people. All right, sweet. Budget Magic time. We are trying to find out if we finally have cards that are good in Soul Sisters. And okay, that's a good draw. We're gonna say this hand is great, except we don't have any life gain. Well, now we have the life gain, which is huge. Now this hand is just legitimately amazing. All right, pass the turn. About it. We even have some protection. Yeah, this hand is kind of great now. Opponent, Old Growth Troll, sure. Goes to combat, gets in, hits us. Can we raise mono green on the play is the question. Opponent passes. Now play a Forest. Play. So Voice of the Blessed gets a counter. I think we just go Trellisara. Trellisara Scry. Gain a life, grow it. Brutal Cathar, we already got one. Gonna go to the bottom. Yeah, we're just gonna pass. Leave up our protection. Opponent, land, combat, attacks, draws a card. Yeah, I think we gotta take it, unfortunately. That is a big hit, and our opponent did get to draw a card. That's not ideal. Briarbridge Tracker. Opponent just keeps running out the big stuff. And Blizzard Brawl. Well, we will, I think we just kill the Old Growth Troll. This does cost us our treasure, but we get rid of the Old Growth Troll. Untap, Prosperous Innkeeper. Aspirant to the bottom. Voice of the Blessed. Gain some life, grow our Dorks. To the bottom. We kind of just want to land, honestly. Ugh, to the bottom. All right, well, we've built a big board. Is it big enough to keep us alive? Right now, our opponent cannot successfully fight Trellisara, which is nice, even with Blizzard Brawl. Faceless Haven, Brennan 7. All right. We would like to just draw land. All right, there's a Tree Folk. I guess that could fight. Brutal Cathar. Get rid of the Tree Folk. Get some triggers. I mean, this deck can go off. Plains on top. Plains on top. Attack the Ren. I mean, this is going pretty well. Voice of the Blessed up to 6 counters. So it's a flyer now. And we have next turn Righteous Valkyrie into Leave Up Snakeskin Veil. I mean, our things are just bigger. Our things in our random Soul Sisters budget deck are just bigger than the deck that plays the biggest things in Standard. Like, kind of by far. Opponent, considering their seemingly bad options. I mean, that's the trick of this matchup, I think, is if we can grow our stuff outside of fight range, it seems like it becomes very difficult for Mono Green to do much. Can hold on to this Cabrilla takedown. We have enough creatures that it's actually kind of a terminate at the moment. And our opponent got off to that fast start, but one of the upsides of this deck is we get to gain a bunch of life. Wow, is our opponent salty timing outing? Oh, opponent. Not happy to see their best deck in Standard and their expensive mythics taken down by Arctic Treeline, Trellisara, and the budget jag. Opponent, what do you say? Wow, are they really salty timing out? I think they are. I mean, that's the best kind of win. All right, opponent. Maybe they were thinking. They might have been thinking. All right, pass the turn. Opponent on taps. Opponent needs something pretty good. Pretty good. Because this is going to keep happening. And next turn, we actually get protection. Opponent, Desperation Attack. No blocks. Yeah, got us. Down to 9. And another Old Growth Troll, sure. And Kazandu Mammoth, also sure. Well, we play a Plains. We play Righteous Valkyrie. Get a few triggers. Do a bit of scrying. Snakeskin Veil to the bottom. We really just want a creature. We don't even especially care what creature it is. Well, definitely don't want a Valving Wilds. Hit you for 8 in the air. Voice of the Blessed going off. We didn't hit a creature, which is kind of a bummer, but we're still in pretty good shape. I mean, we got a 10-10 Trellisara, an 8-8 Voice of the Blessed. Not really sure how opponent gets out of this. About it, combat, full attack, draws a card. Well, let the murdering of green creatures begin. So we will kill Kazandu Mammoth. We will kill Briar Bridge Tracker. We will block Pack Leader. If our opponent wants to spend their turn pumping the Pack Leader, that's fine. We drop to 7 for a second. Another Ren. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Tree Folk. Oh, come on, creature. Come on, creature. Forest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, we get to Cabrilla takedown. The token. And kill you. Here they come. Oh, wow. That was a blowout. That wasn't even close. Oh, our Soul Sisters kind of went off that game. Now we get to bring in Valorous Stance, Portable Holes, Circles of Confinement, potentially. Go down. This is a hard part, is what can we actually cut to make room for all this? Maybe we don't Circle of Confinement. I mean, Valorous Stance is protection and it kills most of our opponent's big things. Maybe that's just fine. Let's go to 1 Righteous Valkyrie. You know what? No Circle of Confinement. Let's go 2 Portable Holes and the rest of the Valorous Stances. I think Valorous Stance, against mono green in specific, is just better. Against like mono white, then I think that other removal is more relevant because Valorous Stance doesn't kill everything, but Valorous Stance is kind of insane against mono green. We'll keep this. This hand is missing our Soul Sisters. Well, okay, that's something. Missing our Soul Sisters payoffs, but it is nice that we can protect our Luminarch Aspirant with Alambach Escort. Lotus Cobra, interesting. Yeah, we better just Portable Hole. Portable Hole, get rid of the Cobra. Evolving Wilds hit you for 1. Pass the turn. Lotus Cobra again, sure. And a Forest makes 2 mana. Werewolf Pack Leader. Well, crack this. Grab a Plains. Play the land. Play Lunarch Veteran. Play Luminarch Aspirant. Gain a life counter on the Aspirant. Pass the turn. Opponent makes some mana. A quick Ren would be scary. We haven't drawn any removal this hand. Ooh, a quick Ashaya. All right, interesting. Opponent's got a unique take on mono green, that's for sure. We could use some removal. Opponent. Oh, we would like to kill that. It's gonna cost us our board though. Yeah, I guess we gotta take it for now. Down to 18, we untap. Well, play a land. Righteous Valkyrie. Counter on the Valkyrie. Pass the turn. Well, we'll see. Could really use a Trellisar or something. Opponent, yeah, grows the Dorks. Lotus Cobra, blah, blah, blah. Combat, oh, gonna attack. All right, well, we will We will kill the pack leader. We do not want our opponent to continue drawing extra cards. All right, so we will sack to save it. Kill the pack leader. Well, Allenback Escort. Gain some life, gain some life. Allenback Escort. Gain some life, gain some life. Counter on Righteous Valkyrie. Can we race? Not really. Play the tap land, pass the turn. Well, that's what we got about our taps. Could really use a Soul Sister. That's one thing I've noticed with this deck, is the games where we don't draw Zika's Chariot. The games where we don't draw a Soul Sister tend to go a lot worse. Opponent, empty in the hand, grow in the Ashaya. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, I wish we could kill this Ashaya, but I don't think we can. About it. Goes attacking. Well, I guess we're taking... Yeah, I think our opponent might have us here. Was not expecting Ashaya. That is definitely shift this game in our opponent's favor. Well, there's a Voice of the Blessed. Is it too late is the question. Voice of the Blessed. We gain life, we get counters. Go to combat, counter on Voice of the Blessed. Who? I don't know. Pass the turn, we'll see. That was a good draw. That is what we were looking for, but is it just too late? Opponent, land. We do have protection, which is good, and that protection gains us life. And if we can ever get this, boy, we just got to keep drawing well. We just got to keep drawing creatures, really. Soul Sister stuff. Opponent fires up the Chariot. I mean, this is kind of okay. Opponent attacks. We block with an Escort. We sack it to save the Voice of the Blessed, kill the Chariot, gain some life. That's reasonable. These Escorts are keeping us alive here. All right, fires up Faceless Haven. So opponent's going with a big attack. Attempting to kill us, goes to combat, attacks, copies a token. So we block here, block here, block here. 5, 6, 7. Yeah, block like that. Sack the Escort. Save the Voice of the Blessed, or grow the Voice of the Blessed. So we go to 6, but we gain back 5, and that grows the Voice. Oh, another one. Okay, Voice of the Blessed. That's not bad. That triggers our stuff. That gains us life. That gains us life. Counter on the Voice. We're all in on this Voice of the Blessed. Get in, hit you for 9. Wow. Are we going to overcome this start? Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. We still have an Escort for protection. Because on New Mammoth, that does not change the math. Sure, triggers for days, grows the dorks, makes a mana, 1 card. That's got to be an amazing card. Zika's Chariot, that doesn't do it, and that's game. That's game. Our opponent had an Ashaya, got off to a huge start. We didn't find our Good and Soul Sisters cards until it was almost too late, but we got there. And now we get to, you block here, you block here, you block here, you block here. Yep, and then we sack this on the Voice of the Blessed. Give it lifelink. Drop to 11, but then we gain 9. And opponent's done. Ooh, Good in Soul Sisters. It really is Good in Soul Sisters. It's finally happening. It took 2 years of saying it, but we finally got there. The Voice of the Blessed, insane in Soul Sisters. I mean, we just outpace Mono Green. We just run over them. We run over them. Our stuff's bigger and better than their stuff. That is kind of impressive. Our opponent had that quick Ashaya. I mean, it's not like our opponent had some horrible draw where they stumbled on mana. They had Pack Leader into Mammoths, into Ashayas. They had double Zika's Chariots, and Voice of Blessed. Just don't care. Good in Soul Sisters. Finally. Sweet, sweet. Budget magic time. We are Soul Sistering in Standard. Find out if there finally are cards that are good in Soul Sisters, and Righteous Valkyrie Tron. I guess we keep. Kind of a weird draw, but sure. Now, Evolving Wilds, go. White-black control. White-black control scares me. They just have so many sweepers. Yeah, it looks to be it. Well, crack this. Grab a planes. Allenback Escort. Evolving Wilds, go. Opponent. Sanctum, Skullport. All right, so it's definitely white-black control. Take a planes. Opponent gets a treasure. Well, land and I guess Righteous Valkyrie. Pass the turn. Oh, yeah, this might. Oh, boy. I don't know if I've ever beat white-black control with a creature deck. White-black control is one of the most polarizing decks, I think, in Standard. Like, I don't know how it ever loses to a creature deck, and I don't know how it ever wins against other control decks. Oh boy, we could be getting swept at any time. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Well, play Prosperous Innkeeper. Play a Plains, go to combat. I think we gotta try to play around the sweeper as much as possible, because we know, like, that's what this deck does. This deck just plays sweeper into sweeper into sweeper about it. So running up more Righteous Valkyries into Meat Hook Massacre just feels really bad. Land for our opponent. Blood on the Snow. Well, we will make Righteous Valkyrie indestructible. Opponent gets back their Dork. Gets back their treasure. Well, all right, land. Valkyrie. Gain some life. Valkyrie. Gain some life, and this is what we got. We got some really big angels. How much removal do you got, Fred? Hit you for 8 in the air. Well, that's it. You got another one? You got another one, then you got us. Come on. No, 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 no. Own it. Looking at the angels. Vanishing versus an angel. Okay. Land. And Desperation Trap. Oh, come on. No removal. No removal. Oh, okay. We got there. I mean, I think our goal is to jank him out, essentially. I think the way we could potentially win is by being very aggressive and protecting our stuff. I think that's the recipe. So bring in more protection. We know they're just overloaded on removal. Our goal is to protect our threats, kill our opponent before they can get their late game engines going of lulls and Sorens and all that stuff. All right, we'll keep. So we got Lunarch Veteran into Luminarch Aspirant. Shambling Guest. Well, land and Lunarch Veteran. Go. Almost not sure if we even want to run out this Luminarch Aspirant yet. Opponent plains and passes. Yeah, Evolving Wilds, go. We're gonna wait until we can leave up Snakeskin Veil. Opponent, are we sacking and drawing? No. Next turn we can Luminarch Aspirant and Snakeskin Veil, which is better. There's an eye twitch. About it. Goes attacking, no blocks. We still are gonna need more payoffs. Well, crack this. Grab a plains. Well, Forest, Luminarch Aspirant. Gain a life. Go to combat. Vanishing Verse. Well, we will Snakeskin Veil. And counter on, I guess, Veteran, so we can start attacking. Like, I really, truly think our pathway to victory is being as aggressive as possible. Opponent, eye twitch with the block, and what lesson are we getting? We are pretty threat light at the moment. Wow, Necrotic Fumes, okay. Opponent, land, Sorin. Makes a vampire. We don't have enough creatures to kill the vampire, do we? But we do need to kill the Sorin. Well, I guess this means we have to kill the Shambling Ghast. Wow. All right, gonna give Luminarch Aspirant -1, -1. Okay, I'll go to combat. Counter on Luminarch Aspirant. Everything is Sorin. Snakeskin Veil. Kill the vampire and the Sorin, and all right. I mean, opponent does need a creature to turn on this Necrotic Fumes. Oh, they have one. All right, Shambling Ghast. Well, here goes our Luminarch Aspirant, and let's see if we can find some threats. Opponent exiles our board, gets rid of the Aspirant. Come on, real card. Real card. Opponent's out of cards. Trellis our accounts. That is about as much as we could hope for. Scry. Valorous Stance bottom. Play the land, go attacking. Okay, we just need to keep hitting creatures. If we keep hitting creatures, we keep getting to scry about it. Wow, what a top deck. Okay, Valorous Stance. Trellisara indestructible. We draw nothing. Well, get back the Veteran. Go attacking. Pass the turn. Opponent has so many wraths about it. Passes. Ooh, Innkeeper. All right, Innkeeper. I'll go to combat, hit you in the air. Pass the turn. Close. Eye twitch, sure. Passes. Oh, that's a good one. Righteous Valkyrie. That's the one we wanted to see. Gains us life, lets us scry. Innkeeper. Is it worth it? I think we go bottom. Go to combat. Go attacking. Opponent blocks. This is fine because we get to gain a life. All right, opponent, we don't get to gain a life. Deadly dispute. All right, well, opponent draws some cards. Well, we'll see. The problem is our opponent is always just a turn away from drawing a wrath. That is the challenge. Opponent. Wow. Introduction to Annihilation. Sure. I mean, if it's a removal spell, our opponent has it in their deck and then some about it. Top deck's Meat Hook Massacre, and we will scoop it up. Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess we won't actually scoop, but Cleric class. Level up Cleric class. We won't actually scoop, but that's a nightmare. That's the thing that I don't think we can get back from. Opponent fires up a Faceless Haven. Like, this deck, I don't know how our deck ever beats it. We got him in game 1, which I'm happy about, but like, I don't know how we beat it. I just know how we beat it. They have infinite removal. Now, Reanimate. Righteous Valkyrie. Gain some life. Opponent. Yeah, we just don't really have the card advantage to keep up with what our opponent's doing. Finds a blood. Like, that's the third different wrath. All right, I think it is now officially scoop time. Like, that's what I was trying to describe in game 1. Like, it's ridiculous. If you're playing a creature deck, it's ridiculous how poor this matchup is. And that's not just our deck. That is any creature deck. Like, it is just an insanely bad matchup. On the other hand, the white-black control deck has a pretty big weakness, which is if you're playing blue-black control or Jeskai control, or is it extra turns, then it is kind of hilariously ineffective because all of it's as we just saw it, like 18 wraths, 18 creature removal spells, a few planeswalkers, and it's very effective if your opponent is just trying to make a big board full of Soul Sisters. Less effective if your opponent is copying Elrond's Epiphany. All right, well, we're on the play. That is the good news. We are on the play. We got him in game 1. Again, I'm not very confident in this matchup, but we'll see. We got him in game 1, so it could happen again. We're gonna give it our best shot. Aggro was possible. Try to kill him before the wraths come down. I will also say, ooh, I wish we had white mana. Or green mana. I will also say that I feel like some of the stuff that could improve this matchup just doesn't work. You probably notice our sideboard is like all removal spells. And that is in large part to keep the rares down for Magic Arena. Some of the cards I would be interested in to help improve the control matchups. Play a land, Prosperous Innkeeper. Some of the cards I'd be interested in to help improve the control matchups would be like Guardian of Faith to pick up all of our stuff and get around a sweeper. That'd be really helpful. Paulo, Elite Spellbinder, really good at taxing opponents' wrath. Redain can be effective. Like Thalia could also be effective. But like all the cards that kind of hate on control decks, unfortunately happen to be rares. Which makes it really tough to play him in a budget deck. So not that it would make these matchups necessarily good, but this is where the budget does kind of slightly, I would say, handicap our deck. Like if we had an unlimited budget, instead of playing 15 removal spells and protection spells in the sideboard, some of those slots could go to things that are effective against control decks. All right, opponent, treasure, Skullport, passes. We draw more lands. Well, Trelisara, let the scrying begin. Plains definitely to the bottom. I don't play a land past the turn. Do you have Meat Hook Massacre? Opponent. Path of Peril. All right, I mean, this does let us save our Trelisara. Opponent. So wrath number 1 has been cast. Opponent plays a tap land and passes. Oh my god, even more lands. Even more lands, not good. Not good, not good. I'll play the land. I think we've seen that there are cards getting Soul Sisters, and we've seen that this deck is kind of insane, but it looks like the 6-0 might be out of reach. About it. Swamp. 1 million cards in hand. 1 million wraths in deck. 1 million card draw effects on the battlefield. Path of Peril again. Jeez. All right. Yeah, like I said, I don't know how a budget creature deck ever beats this deck. About it. Adapts. Environmental Sciences. I mean, I'm gonna be proud that we got him in game 1. Gets a land. Plays a swamp. Shambling Ghast. Opponent passes. Righteous Valkyrie. Our stuff's kind of coming off the top of our deck in an awkward order past the turn. Well, let's see. Do you have Wrath 3? Oh, you got another Deadly Dispute? Jeez. Ay, ay, ay. All right, opponent, gonna refuel. I think what we're hoping for is our opponent not to chain their Deadly Disputes. Lolf. The chaining of the Deadly Disputes is, oh boy, is tough. Gotta hope that those are at the bottom of the deck. They're just so much card draw. Well, Luminarch Aspirant. Prosperous Innkeeper to the guess bottom. I don't even know at this point. Go to combat. Counter on Righteous Valkyrie. Attack the Lolf. Opponent blocks with a Spider. Loyalty on Lolf. Opponent draws with Lolf. I wonder how many Raz are in our opponent's hand. 4? 6? Plays a Sorin. Makes a Vampire. Plays a land. Passes. Well, Voice of the Blessed. I mean, we're doing all right. The problem is our opponent is eventually going to draw Wrath, and once they do, we're just so out of luck. Cabrera takedown, definitely to the bottom. Go to combat. Counter on Voice of the Blessed. Attack Lolf. Blocks. So now our opponent's at the point where they get to draw 2 extra cards each turn. It's a lot of looks for a Wrath. Opponent taps. If they don't get a Wrath this turn, there's hope. If they do get a Wrath this turn, then the game is over. Blood on the Snow. And the game is over. Yeah, so like I said, that's just a ridiculously poor matchup for creature decks, period. Doubly so budget creature decks, because as I was mentioning before, like, there are cards that would help in this matchup. Guardian of Faith is a big one. Guardian of Faith just phases out all of our stuff, so it essentially just fizzles a Wrath, lets us keep our board, lets us keep all of our counters on our Voice of the Blessed, all that stuff. So that would be huge. Elite Spellbinder is another one that would help, just to tax harass in our opponent's hand, give us a flying clock to attack the planeswalkers. Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, just to tax spells, make them a little more expensive, buying us an extra turn to get things going. So there are cards that help fight this matchup. Unfortunately, they're all rares. They're not all, I mean, they're all semi-expensive. I think Guardian of Faith is the cheapest of the bunch. I guess Paulo's not that expensive. But yeah, something to keep in mind. One of the things I try to do with budget Magic these days, since so much of it's played on Arena, is try to keep it under 15 total rares and mythics, which, that's tough. That's tough. If you look at just traditional standard decks, tier standard decks, you're playing a ton of rares and mythics, 40, 50 rares and mythics in a typical deck. So we're kind of playing ultra budget to some extent. So that's just something to keep in mind. In paper, it would be pretty easy to go to the sideboard of this deck, which, as you can see now, like, is pretty much all removal spells and a bit of protection, which is fine, great against creature decks, great against mid-range aggro, but just doesn't offer much for control. So if you're playing in paper, I would definitely heavily recommend adding in the Paulos, adding in the Guardian of Faith in the sideboard, trimming some of the removal. Like, we just, some of it's there because what else are we going to put in? There's just not another option. So that would be my biggest recommendation. If you play the deck in paper, extra $10 a play set for Paulos, Elite Spellbinders, an extra $10 a play set for Guardian of Faith, stick some of those in the sideboard. That should help with the control matchups quite a bit. On Arena, where the economy is horrible, and Wizards, you know, make it a little more generous, buddies. But yeah, on Arena, I don't know what to tell you. Like, on Arena, you just lose to control decks because they all cost rares, and you know, a janky sideboard rare costs the same as Hullbreaker Horror, whatever the chase rare, Snapcaster Mage, whatever the Teferi Die Raveler, whatever the chase rare is in standard. But anyway, the deck's sweet, and we kind of crushed it. Sure, we didn't get every single win, but we came pretty close, and Soul Sisters definitely appears to be back. So I guess maybe that's just like the wrap up rather than doing a real wrap up. So what do we learn about this deck? We went 5-1. There was another mono green match, so I'm not sure I'm going to show because we played it 3 times, and we beat it all 3 times. Mono green, kind of a cakewalk. We played against the blue white like tempo deck, super easy. We beat blue black control somehow, which is super impressive because a lot of the same stuff we were talking about applies there as well. But the plan with this build of the deck, if you run into those super wrath removal heavy control decks, bring in the protection, be as aggressive as possible. The key is to try to win, as we did in the first game against black white control, try to win before they can get their Wraths online. I think that's like the only realistic shot. The deck is insane if the game goes long against other creature decks. We saw it against mono green multiple times. We saw that against blue white. Our stuff just gets so big. We gain so much life. Those matchups are super easy. Mono white, mono green, all those matchups easily, just like, it's ridiculously easy how good those matchups are. So those matchups are great. The control matchups are tougher if you're building non-budget, as we just talked about. Elite Spellbinder's in the sideboard, Guardian of Face in the sideboard, Thalia's in the sideboard, trimming down on some of this removal. Like, I would start with probably the Borrowed Times are not necessary. Like, if I was going to play, here's the optimal sideboard, because the main deck, you know what, people always ask me about this, and I always put a non-budget list in the article on the website, but we do a little bit of it right now in the video. So let's say we did not have budget concerns. Here's what I'd be doing with this deck. I'd be starting with the mana base. As far as the main deck, the only thing that really needs upgrading is the mana base. I think the easiest way to upgrade the mana base is, wait, where are actual dual lands? Okay, there we go. So Evolving Wilds and Arty Tree Line, they're functional. They come into play tapped, which is a drawback. So Pathways, Overgrown Farmland, and then a couple of creature lands, probably of each colors, a couple Lair of the Hydras, probably a couple Caves of the Frost Dragon, something like this. So that improves the mana base. The non-land cards in the main deck are actually kind of fine, and I don't know if I'd actually change them at all. And then the big upgrade comes in the sideboard where you're looking for Guardian of Face in the sideboard to beat those Wraths. So a couple of those. Thalia's in the sideboard to slow down the Wraths, and then Elite Spellbinder in the sideboard to tax the Wraths in the control decks. So we'd be looking for something like this as far as the sideboard, and then probably going down, probably like a couple of Snakeskin Veils. I do really like the Valorous Stances. I think those are actually very good. So I'd probably be playing something like Angle Trap, Valorous Stance, probably something like this. With probably four portable holes, I guess, as the removal. Oh, is this still set on rare? It is. All right. So I'd probably play something like this. This would probably be the non-budget build. Maybe there's something else that could go in the main deck. Maybe you had the 4th Brutal Cathar or something. But in general, I was really happy with the main deck. You can obviously make the budget less tap, or make the mana base less tap, which is always a good thing. And then the biggest upgrade is just balancing the sideboard. Our current sideboard that we played for the video, great against creature decks, mid-range, aggro, not so great against control. But when you have more rares to work with, and you can throw in the Spellbinders, Guardian of Face, Thalias, that should improve the control matchups. And like I said, we don't need that much for the creature matchups, because this deck is, our main deck is insane against the creature decks. The main deck is just like, it stomps over mono green, it stomps over mono white. So anyway, the deck suite. I think Soul Sisters is actually pretty legit. Voice of the Blessed, it really, truly, finally is a card that is good at Soul Sisters. And as far as competitive budget decks go, like I said, we went 5-1, counting that additional mono green match, which we actually won, only losing to black-white control, which is just a really tough matchup for creature decks. So if you like gaining life, you like winning games, you like the idea of a card being good in Soul Sisters, would definitely recommend the deck. So that's Budget Soul Sisters. That's our budget magic for this week. Thanks for watching. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, help us out by clicking that like button down below. And to keep up on all the latest and greatest, click that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we have new videos. And if you want to, check out some of our other sweet videos here and here.